Hello, this is Jim Brain, and it is early morning of Friday, September 8th, right before the Vintage Computer Festival Midwest 12, 2017, which will happen September 9th and September 10th with some informal parts of the show starting later on today, actually in the evening, um, in Chicago, actually in suburb of Chicago. I wanted to talk to you about a small project that's going to be on display by many people, hopefully at the show tomorrow. It is a small project that was announced on the mailing list a couple weeks ago. A number of us have no doubt ordered the unit in the spirit of conference electronics badges that are showed or displayed on folks' apparel during a technology convention or technology conference like Black Hat or Nauticon or other things like that. Lee Hart, Dale Richter, along with Joss Benson, have created a 6502 badge in honor of the 40th anniversary of the 6502 in 1977. And this is an entire computer system in badge form. I purchased a kit from Mr. Hart, and it arrived today, actually, in the mail. So not a lot of time to put it together before the show. If I don't get it done right now, then I'll have to finish it up on my way or after I arrive. However, I have all the parts here. They came in a nice little bag along with the badge, and I am going to try and solder this thing up tonight. So if you have one of these and you are looking for some help, you can hopefully follow along. And if you just want to see what it does when it gets finished, assuming it works, then you can take a look at the end of the video. So you can just skip forward to the end. So I'm going to switch over to some other cameras so it's a little bit easier to see the parts as I lay them out, but I'll keep chatting. So hold on here just a minute. Okay. So this is there is a really nice 27-page manual that's provided with the unit. I printed out a couple pages of it anyway, and this particular document right here is all of the items that are on the unit, and it tells where all of them are. And so I'm going to dump them out here just so we can kind of get an idea of what is here. Got a number of resistors, batteries. Looks like the batteries are rechargeable. How cute. And resistor pack, a battery holder. Comes complete. This particular is a full kit, and it comes with a USB serial port adapter, little part of the badge to let's see if I can get that in frame here. Yep, to clip the badge onto your shirt after you get it done. Some diodes. We've got a bunch of capacitors and whatnot. So we may have to look up what some of these capacitors are. But anyway, a whole bunch of interesting things, and I'm going to try to put the unit together. We've got some integrated circuits here. We have 6502 and looks like a pre-programmed ROM. I know that this is a display, an LED display, and this must be a connector for something. I'll have to figure that out. It says right on here, so I guess I should just kind of look and see what's going on here. Anyway, so let us go down and look here. We've got two 74HC 273s, and I am looking to see if those are anywhere laying around here. I do see them. There they are. So we have two 273s right here. And then we have C5.1 UF yellow. Looks like there's a whole bunch of those. So hopefully, yep, C5.1, C4.1. So we probably ought to mark that we have all these. So that's that, C5, C4. Let's see here. C7. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and they are right there. Lay them over here to the side. And then we have a 65CO2 P4, we have that, and a 2 megahertz resonator blue right here. We have a resonator. In fact, I'll see if I can get a little bit more light here so it'll be easier to see things. There we go. And let's see, let's mark that off. D4. Let's see, I've got a bunch of diodes here. Let me see how many diodes we have. 1, 2, looks like 2. Oh, nope. I only see 2 diodes and I have 3 here, so. But never fear, we at least have 2 of them. So there's 1 and there's another. Lay it off to the side. 220, red, red, yellow, gold. So that's not red, red. Here's red, red, yellow, gold right here. 220K. Okay, and then a CXK 5814 2K RAM. I'm assuming that's this stuff right here. C5814, yep, 2K RAM right there. And looks like I need to buy a CY7C199 32K RAM. S1 switch, I saw that right here. There's a switch. Oh. Right here is the switch. And actually I can put them underneath there and you can see them on the microscope. But so we've got a switch, we've got an EEPROM. Let's see. EEPROM socket. Oh, got to cut the bars. You got to, because it's going to have a chip inside it. A 3900 PF green C6. That would be 2A. Yep, right there. I have that. D1 LED. I've got that, and a 2K/4 red at SIP. 2K/4 83S 223. Nope, this is 83S 202 right here. Put that right there. And 6-pin white connector. I don't see it. Well, it looks like we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 connector. I do not see that, so maybe this is that connector. I don't know. We'll check. 22 black, white stripe, black. This is 22 UF right there. I have that one. Yellow capacitor marked RMC 56K. That is really small, so I'm going to take a look at that under the microscope. And see through. Nope, that's not it. 103M. Is that this one right here? Eight, 9, 4, 4. So I'm not exactly sure what this is. This is an X7R 200V. Here we go. RMC 0.56K. So that's this one right here. put it like that. And then we've got a 0.1 yellow we've already got. 74HC139, which we have over here. And a 0.01 UF, which I think has got to be this unit right here, 0.01. Where is it? C8. I don't know. All these little other yellow ones are 104, 104, 104, and whoops, 104. Yep. So it's got to be this unit, this particular one right here has got to be the 0.01 UF. So we'll just make a note of that. Okay, LS8223 is this one right here. And then we've got this orange, black, which would be 33K. There it is. Or 33 ohms, sorry. Only install if you're using the rechargeable batteries. And so initially I'm not going to use the rechargeable batteries because I'm not sure if they're all charged. So I'm going to leave that off right there. So I think we have all the pieces. Okay, so I'm going to start putting them in the board here. I'm going to do these little, let's see how I can, yep. I'm going to put the passives and stuff on first. So I'm going to start with C5, which is right here, C5. And then I'm going to go down here and find, there's another one, C4, right here. And then let's see, C7, which is over here, C7. And C2, which is right there. Boy, that's a little hard to find there. It's a nice looking board. It's well laid out. It's got legends on it. And this little handy dandy piece of paper helps a lot as well. So let's see here. 2 megahertz resonator. Let's see, the resonator is kind of high, so I'm going to do that next. I'm going to do these diodes next. So okay, let's take a look at where the diode has to go. So it's going to go with the silver end towards the inside of the board, towards the center of the board, I guess is what I should say. There's that. And then we've got a 220K resistor, red, gold, which goes right next to it. Putting the passives on first, they're the lowest, or the shortest as far as height is concerned, and so it makes it easier if you can do things from the lowest height to the highest height. Let me look here. D2 is another diode. Let's get another diode here. So we'll do D2. D2 goes up towards the top. Now this time the band goes away from let's see. That's all of the ones that are the lowest. So I'm going to solder those up. Obviously, you can use whatever type of soldering iron suits your fancy. I have a pretty nice one here. Used to have a Weller. Actually, I started out with a Radio Shack $9.99 special. Let me move the thing out here, and I'll move to the switch to the microscope here. Let's see, scope. There we go. September 2017. So, okay. There we go. That's better. My tip should be cleaned, but it's late and I'm getting ready for the show, so such is the okay. Let's see what else we have that we can solder up here. There we go. Okay. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here that we can solder up? Oh, got a couple more capacitors. It's really impressive that they've managed to shoehorn an entire computer system on a 3-inch diameter piece of printed circuit board. I know they had to make some trade-offs, which is fine, but a fully loaded unit comes with complete, ROM. I think it has BASIC in it, and you can put up to 32K of RAM. This particular unit, as shipped, comes with 2K of RAM. So, okay, what do we have here? I think we have everything, and so I am going to clip these leads off. Give me just a second here. Not much to show you there, other than just cleaning up the leads on the back side. Whoops. Okay. Takes care of that. Now, let's look and see what that... Oop, I suppose I should have put this last one in here, this yellow C8. Well, it's a little bit taller, so I'm going to put it in like so. They must have had a last-minute substitution, because it looks like that should have been with two leads on the same side, not, I think, I can never remember if it's axial or radial, but looks to me like whatever one that they spec'd on the board, they ordered, or they were out of that one, so they had to order a different kind. So there we go. Never mind, doesn't matter. I'm sure it'll work fine. So, okay, let's see, what's the next tallest things that we should put on? I think let's see, don't need that extra diode. And I think these resistor packs and the resonator look like they're the next tallest items. So R3 is L83S202, and that is not this one. That is this one here. So now on a resistor pack, it's very important. I'll show you here. It's very important that you put the resistor pack. You'll see this little square on the one end of the resistor pack, or the legend for the resistor pack, and then on the resistor pack you'll see a corresponding black line or some sort of line. Sometimes they're white, whatever. That signifies what pin needs to go where. And then on the other stuff we put on, except for the diodes, which have to go a certain way, everything else so far has been, you can put it either way. So now this capacitor, this 22 UF capacitor, which is right here, 22 16 volt. Oh, there we go. It goes right there, and if you notice, there's a plus sign right there, so that means this pin is the one that the plus goes on, and on these are electrolytic capacitors, and they have a minus sign, a little white stripe with a minus sign. Sometimes it's a black stripe with a minus sign in it. That means that is not the plus sign, so make sure you put that in the right way. We got another resistor pack here. It goes down here. It's going to be hard to get it into focus, so I'm just going to put it on right here. Okay, and the resonator. Now, as far as I know, the resonator does not have a direction, so I think we're okay on that. This one comes with some pretty interesting paper that it was used to hold it in for pick and place. They usually come on this tape. That's kind of a cardboard paper type of consistency, I guess. Thick paper maybe is the way to describe it. And usually the pins just pull right out, but this one is being a little bit stubborn. So I'm going to put the resonator, so it says 200 or 2000, which probably means 2000 kilohertz. So I'm going to put it right there, and I'm going to put, there's a switch here, which I also believe is the switch doesn't have any direction. You can just put it on either way. Sometimes switches do, but in this particular case, oh, the switch is really tall. I'm going to wait and put that on a little bit. Okay, so now I need to turn this upside down. Whoops. So there's a trick I use to put these things upside down. I take a circuit board that doesn't have anything on it. You can use a piece of cardboard if you want, and you flatten the item like a sandwich. Actually, it looks to me like I'm going to have to take the capacitor out. It's too thick, too big. But you take the board or something and put it right over the top, and then of course flip it upside down. So now I'll have to solder these up. So we've got the resistor pack right here. We'll solder it up. Ooh, need to refocus here. We're going to have to keep refocusing as the stack gets a little taller. So I am going to solder just one pin of this for the moment, and I'll show you why in just a second. And then I'm going to slide over here and solder this pin, and then we're going to go find that resonator. It's right here. Right there. And we'll solder it, just one pin of it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that everything is standing straight up. So the resistor packs are a little bit so let me flip back and I'll show you. They are let's see. I guess I can do it this way. The one's not too bad, but you can see it's a little bit. Let's see if I can get it. I'm not sure. It's hard to. There we go. This one at the front was worse. And so what I do is I just hold it in place and heat up that particular pin that I soldered, and then you don't have to worry about that. So there we go. Okay, actually let's do this because I think this is a little bit better shot. There you go. That way you can see what I'm doing when I'm not constantly under the microscope. So let's solder the rest of this resonator up. I checked, it was flat, so it's always best to solder one of the pins and then check it. Sometimes the thing slides out of the holes and then you've got a problem. Or in the case of a IC socket or stuff like that, sometimes one end of it's flush and the other end of it's not. There's just a whole bunch of things that can go wrong. So okay, got that one taken care of. Go up here and do this one. Okay. Probably won't win any awards for my solder joints tonight, but if they're solid enough, then we'll call it a win. It's like 1 o'clock, so. Okay, let me see if I can get a zoom in here just a little bit further. Where is zoom? Here, just sit. Yep, there we go. Whoop. Okay. Dang it. Okay, now I took the capacitor out, so let me put it back in. Remember C6. The other thing you know is if you see here, let me put it down here so you can see. On a capacitor, the the end that's not the minus sign, the positive end, as a longer lead. I wouldn't rely on that, but when they come from the factory, they tend to have a longer lead. Problem is some people could cut one off and then you wouldn't know. So, but assuming that one's longer than the other one, the one that's longer will be the positive one. Now, there we go. Okay, that takes care of that. Alright. Now, what do we have next here? Sockets. Probably should have done the sockets next because they're pretty shallow. But okay, now it says cut the bars holding the two sides together. Install the pieces at U3 on each side of U4. Plug the EEPROM into the socket with pin 3 right. So they want you to do it this way. What they're saying is that you need to, let me see if I can get it here. They want you to cut these things, this right here, and this one and this one. They want you to cut them off and then solder them in. I'm not going to do that, although you probably should. I'm not going to do it because I have a pair of pliers or a pair of cutters that I can use after the fact and get those things out of there. So again, I'm going to solder this down. It's a nice machine pin socket, by the way. Definitely not your average leaf cheap socket. So on this, you'll notice that the let me get it over here. You'll notice that there's a, for those of you who haven't put sockets in very often, there is a indent on the end that is where pin 1 is. Pin 1 would be right here. So pin 1 to sorry, wrong way. Pin 1, and then pin 1 goes all the way over, and pin 1's here, and then whatever. This is a 28 pin socket, so this would be pin 28 and this would be pin 1. And that's how it's reflected in the on the legend. It has a little square cut out of it right there, or a little square depicted on that. So this unit, I got it soldered in both corners, and I am going to cut. See if I can do it. I'm not sure if I can do it in a way that you can see it, but I have a pair of pliers that I can use. Now I only soldered two corners, so we should be good here. So there went one, and there went another, and here's the third one. So okay. Now let's solder the rest. Let me do one more end here so I make sure that everything's nice and tidy. Okay. Okay. Let's go solder them up. This is a pretty common way to hide smaller TTL chips. In this case, it's a thin 0.3 inch wide dip, kind of under another chip. As long as you don't have heat issues with doing that. It's an easy way to double your, well, not double, but extend your board real estate without having to make things too big. And obviously they needed all the space they could get, all the space savings they could get with this unit here. So there's that. Okay. Now I have a bit of a challenge here, I think, because I don't know if I want to solder that 2K RAM directly onto the board, because I think I may want to swap it out for a 32K RAM, and it's going to be really difficult to get to it later on. So I may put another socket in there, which means I need to put another socket on top of this in order to do this. So I think it might be easier just to buy another one though, instead of doing that. So we may go ahead and install the RAM and just solder it in. I'm a little hesitant, just because if the unit doesn't work and I need to debug, then I could be in a bit of a challenge. So let me think about that for a second. We've got a couple other things here that we can work on. We have a 139 and a 273. These things, it's not a problem to do, and so I am going to put some sockets in there. Now, I don't know that I have a big stash of machine pin sockets. We'll see here, but generally I am not flush with machine pin sockets, so I do have 28 pin sockets, but I do not have 20 and whatever pin sockets. So let us see here what we have. I do though have a 40 pin machine pin socket. So I'm going to put sockets on things. You may wish to do the same. It's up to you. It's going to make the badge, it will make the badge fatter. So it's up to you. I'm sure Lee and Daryl and Josh probably would recommend that you not. So it's entirely up to you. I just am so concerned because unless I've designed the board, which I did not design this board, the chances are that I will get it done, and I will have done something very foolish in putting the unit together. I may have already done something foolish, and I'll only realize it after I've looked through the video. And if I've soldered everything down, then it'll be very difficult to fix it. So there we go. Okay. Got that one there, and then I need a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need a 2x10 socket. Like I said, I don't have a ton of machine pin sockets, so I will make do with some cheap leaf style sockets. There's one. And here is two. Okay. And then there's a third one over here. I believe is a 139. Nope, 139 is an 18-pin unit, so we will have to get a different socket for that. Always recommend that you have, if you're an experimenter, that you have some sockets. You buy them from Jameco or DigiKey, or if there's a good deal on them at, oh man, it's not an 18 either, it's a 16. I was way off. So, my bad. Get a, I don't know, 5, 10 or so of those sockets, so you just kind of have them laying around in case you need them. You just never know when a socket will come in handy. Some of these I've had for years. Okay. I'm going to look at that LED now. Where did I put the LED? Where did I put the LED? It's on the table here somewhere. Okay. Oh, duh. It's on the back side. So that looks like that would fit into a socket as well. Although interestingly, it is got two different heights of. That's really interesting. Two different heights. So I still think I'm going to put a socket on that. Way overkill, but hey, it's mine. There is the last. I missed D3. That's where it was, up there at the top. Let's put that in before we forget about it. That's where that third diode was. I didn't even see it. Let's put it up here. There we go. Alright. Let's see, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 2 by 28. And I happen to have, or 2 by 14, sorry, 28 pin sockets. I happen to have 28 pin sockets in machine pin. So we're in luck. You may not be. Let me make sure that this thing will fit on machine pin sockets. Or else we might have to go to a leaf socket. Interesting. Fits. So we will put a, don't know what we're going to do. With that other side there that's shorter. If you look here, you can see that one side is shorter than the other one. But we'll sort that out later. Okay, so I don't think this has any particular order that it goes, so I'm just going to, oh, there we go, that's an impressive piece. So it's not quite a 0.6 width. How cute. Wouldn't you know it that the LED is not a 0.6 fat or wide compliant footprint, which is okay. We'll just cut our things and then we will solder all this stuff together. Use my little handy Handy dandy. There we go. Okay. Diode, and then we have a, whoops. Remember, like I said, I always tack the sockets in and then make sure they're all set up correctly before I solder everything down. That way, if there's an issue, then it's easier to deal with. So we will do that. There's the big socket for the 65 CO2, and this one is for the LED display. Again, overkill. Probably you're like, okay, I'm skipping ahead because I don't need to do that. And that's perfectly okay. Okay, there, takes care of that. Whoops, I didn't solder that one in. Alright, so let's do that. Let's fix my mistake there. Make sure that I got them all set up the right way. So that one's that way. And this one fell out because I forgot to solder it in too. There we go, there's that one. Okay, let's make sure that's all the way. It's not. There goes that. That one, there goes that. And then need to make sure these are straight up and down. And they are. So we will solder them up. Okay. Let's just do one more check, just to make sure. Okay. I think that's probably as good as you're going to get. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see how many people show up tomorrow with a badge. Be interesting to see how many people show up tomorrow with a badge that works. I may not be part of that second group, but we will see. Okay. Oops. I know that you can write programs and store them on the unit. I'll be happy if I can just get the unit to boot up with something on the LEDs. I think that'll be a crowning achievement for the show, but I'm sure somebody who has more time than I do will no doubt write something, a game or whatever. It'd be neat to write some little game that I don't think there's any switches or anything on the unit, so that would be a little bit of a challenge. But I haven't looked too much at the schematic, but it's possible that there is a way to put some I/O onto this unit, and we just don't know it yet. So Those two did not get enough solder, but I'm adding some more on there. In general, it should look like a little mountain, not basically a crater with a stick out of the middle of it. But if it starts to be not concave on the sides, then that is bad. You put too much solder on, or so I'm told. Within reason, a little bit too much solder is not going to be the end of the world. You get too much, then you start having problems with bridging. Let me flip back to, since we're doing a lot of this scope stuff here. I use a scope not because I'm just better than you. It's because my eyesight, unfortunately, is not what it used to be. So it was either fight with doing things wrong and realizing at the end that you had messed up the soldering job, or spend $500 for a scope. And so that's what I did. Scope, that's the one I bought. It's a really nice unit, not too much money. Big help. Shouldn't have to worry about not being able to see things. This isn't so bad, I can do this stuff, but I was soldering QFP parts, which are, I don't know, 0.05 or 0.07, something, was kind of very small tolerances. Basically half the distance between those two traces. It's very difficult to see whether there's a short or not. I also like the idea of being able to record like I'm doing right now, so folks can take a look at what's going on. It's always nice. So, for those who are watching this, hopefully you went to Vintage Computer Festival or are going, assuming depending on when you watch this. If you went, I hope you enjoyed it. I've been a number of years. Used to be, it was just the Commodore, emergency Commodore computer something. I don't even know what ECCC stands for, but anyway, that used to be the show, and then there was a Vintage Computer Festival. I believe it was in Indianapolis, but it was not as well attended as it could have been, and so some folks decided to move it to Chicago. Okay, let's see what we have here. We're doing pretty good. Whoops. Okay. Don't need that anymore. Switch. Okay. Which, speaking of which, I think it might be time to put in some of these taller things here. So we've got the switch. Let me flip back. Oops. There we go. So we've got the switch here. It needs to be kind of pushed in. There we go. Right there. And then we have these big, huge, well, big, huge is relative, but we have this, let's see, 0.56 yellow C3. Yep. C3. So C3 is right here. Put that in here. And then we've got this other large one that is C6, which goes right here. Okay, this is interesting. C6 has like a 0.2 inch spacing, and the capacitor that goes in there looks like it's 0.25. So we'll have to kind of shoehorn it in there. That's going to be a little bit of a problem because you can't go too far down, or you risk ruining the capacitor. So we'll just kind of let it sit out a little bit. There's one. There's two. So I am going to put, first I'm going to cut this off. I am going to put a 28 pin machine pin socket inside that other one. Again, not necessarily suggesting that you do the same thing, but at least this way, if something's wrong, I can pop all the ICs out. Alright. There's that. There's that. Obviously, probably should have done this first one before we got too far into it, but I will fix that by putting another socket on it here so it that's not going to work. So this is the problem with doing things for the first time. Okay. Hey, well, we'll figure this out. One way or another, I'll get this soldered up. I can do it freehand. I was hoping I could use a guide, but it's not going to happen. So here we go. This is where you probably would be happy to have what they call a third hand. Little set of alligator clips and whatnot. And I have one, although I've packed it already because I wasn't expecting this unit to arrive today. I'm glad it did, but I was not expecting it. So anyway, so we will make do without it. Okay. Make sure everything is lined up. I believe everything is lined up. Alright. Let's flip back to scope. Now we're getting kind of tall here, so we're going to have to refocus. Alright, let's get these things soldered. Boom, 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 boom. I'm using 6337 leaded solder. So for those of you who are lead-free fanatics, I'm so sorry, but I'm still enjoying my leaded solder. Hey. So now of course this means that I have to put another socket on the 28 pin socket that's going to hold the EEPROM, which is going to look kind of funky, but it's okay. You know what? When I want it to look even cuter, I can buy another one of these at $35 or whatever it is. And I'm sure Lee and Daryl will not be unhappy about that. Okay. So let's see what we got here. We got everything else. Oh, missed some sockets being soldered. So let's take care of that. Anyway, so Vintage Computer Festival Midwest. I've been to the East show and the Southeast show. Each show has it kind of caters to a slightly different crowd, in my opinion. So it's not like once you've been to one, you've been to them all. The one on the East Coast tends to have more big iron, although the Midwest is starting to acquire some bigger iron. But the Midwest show is at a disadvantage, and because the East show has a permanent collection they can draw from on some of the displays. Not all of them, but some of them. The Southeast show is in an old CompUSA building, and so it's really neat because there's so much room and it's all one big area, and it's got a nice venue for presentations and whatnot. But the space can kind of dwarf the show, so that's a bit of a challenge. Although it's getting better. I think they had the 5th one this year. Okay. So what do we have left? We have a resistor that we're not going to use. We have this USB thing right here that we do not. And you know, they told people to go ahead and mark these things off, which I haven't done. So that one I did. I did the C5. I did C4. I did the resonator. I did the D4. I did the 220K. I haven't done the RAM yet. I did the switch. Oh, and I got to solder it. I did the socket. I did D2. I did the SIP. I did the C6. I did the 22 UF. I did C3, I did C7, I did C8, I did R1, and I did C2. Okay. And so I'm seeing something here that's interesting. One is, it says down here, it says find your RAM and EEPROM part number in the jumper table on schematic page 24. Install jumper wires from the center hole to C, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z as shown. So I see S, T, U, V, W, X. I see they're all right there, and that's easy to get to. Y and Z looks particularly problematic. So if you are going to install the RAM, I hope, oh I see, you can get to it from the back side. So I guess you need to make sure that you remember that, because the other ones you can get to from the front. But Y and Z you have to get to from the back. Okay. And for me, I'll have to put a jumper wire there, but that's not the end of the world because I can pull it out from the front. These I'll put jumper blocks on. I can get some jumper blocks here real quick and put them in, and so that's what I'm going to do. So I've got some small jumper blocks here that I'm going to use, and then I can put, or I guess headers is what they are, and you can put shorting blocks on them. So we have 3, 3, and 3. So let's do 3, 3. Let me get back to camcorder here. So I guess I didn't have that on picture here, so let me do it again. So Y and Z is down here, and so you can't get to it if you've soldered the RAM in. So luckily they've made Y and Z available on the back. The other ones you can reach from the front either way. I'm going to put these little jumper blocks on there because that way I can change things out even though it's probably overkill. That's okay. Let's see, where's the third one? There it is. Boy, you gotta marvel, they did a lot of, they did a really good job getting this all put in here. Some engineering happened. Serious engineering. My hat is off to them. It's very hard to put boards together that are really small like this. I mean, it's not a tiny board, but to get all of this stuff on is a significant challenge. So again, we're going to solder one of the pins, and then we're going to go back here. And now remember, one of the pins you're going to heat up, so be careful about where you put your finger. There we go. Alright, that takes care of that. They're all nice and straight, so I'm going to solder them in. And then I'm going to get 3 jumper blocks. I think I have one right here. There's one. And 2 more. Here we go. 2 more. So we've got all of those. And then I am going to wow, that's interesting. Let me see, just can you get this to go in there? So this is going to help out a little bit because I see that it's got some, this thing's got some raised portions, and that's going to, that would normally make it sorry, I don't have that in the frame here. I'm trying to look at it while I do this. Looks like I haven't quite gotten everything snipped down completely to the right height, but okay. Now, I think D1 bumps on top. Bumps on top. What does bumps on top mean? Oh, bumps on top. Okay. It's tight. Looks like it's not quite centered on 0.2 centers, but I got it in. Cool. Okay, now the 65 CO2. There we go. And the badge, here's another thing that you need to know how to do. So let me see if I can do it somewhere where the camera can pan back out here a little bit. Yep, there we go. So you gotta bend the pins. I'm sure there's better ways. There's little tools you can buy to do it as well, but that's one way of doing it that doesn't require I do it on the I have a countertop here, nice hard surface. You can bend them so they're nice, and so now we got to make sure we get them centered or put on the right side. So here's the dent, and there's the dent. Put that in there like that. Perfect. And then we've got a 273 right here. Again, we need to bend the pins so they're straight 90 degrees, I guess. Put those right there. And another 273. Okay, there we go. We've got a 139. I guess you're supposed to take that other thing, that white thing that's 6 pins, or not 6 pins, but so hopefully that's right. I see what you're supposed to do with it now, because this thing needs to be hooked right here, I guess. 5 volts VCC. Yep. So I guess what you do is you take it and 6-pin wide side right, but it's more than 6 pins, so I guess what you do is you snip it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, although you know what, I don't think I'm going to do that. You can do that, just cut it and put it in. Actually, I think you can just put it in. It'll just hang off the side, but maybe you can just put it in there. Yeah, you have to snip it off. But I am going to do something else. I have some 1x6 headers here. So I like that idea better. So I'm going to put them in. Obviously, I am changing the design, so you will have to forgive me, but it's my unit, so okay, and then put that there, put that there, put that there, put that there, and put that there, and so there we go. So that's that. And that's so you can plug, where is that thing? You can plug this right there. Take the little jumper off that's jumpering receive and transmit together. Loop back. Okay, so what else do we have? We have a battery, R4, which I'm not going to install, so we probably ought to put the battery on. This is going to be a little bit of an interesting thing because battery makes it significantly less portable. I have some CR2032 coin cell batteries. So once I get this working, we may see if if you can put 3 coin cells together, or 2 coin cells together. Now 2 wouldn't work, but I could put 2 and a voltage regulator together and maybe get this to be just slightly more portable. Okay, so now we have a RAM chip that I need to put in. I am going to do, so that is, whoa, we've got somebody tried this RAM chip on something. That's what these pins being bent out are, and they've already been bent to the thing. Now these are backwards from the rest of things, so bear that in mind. On other things, the indent is, or the pin 1 indicator is on the left side. These, it's on the right side. It says so in the manual, but you'll forget that. So I'm going to take a 28 pin socket here and bludgeon it, and I am going to use it to put on top of this one so that I can put my EEPROM on this unit. And so the EEPROM also goes from the right. So that's, there we go. I've got forgot to solder the switch up here, so we need to do that. Come on. And then I think the only thing left is we have to set all these jumpers, so I will have to look at page 24. Figure out, whoops. Let me see how I did that. I think I've got some problems there, but let me see. Well, it's not too bad. A little bit too much solder on some of them, which is why I have the scope now. But like I said, it's not the end of the world. But okay, so we have EEPROM, we have the RAM, we need the jumpers. So I need to look up page 24. So bear with me for a second while I go get the manual. And it says on page 24, alright, for page 24, if configured for 2K or 16K, RAM is at that doesn't help. 24, where is... S, W, and Z if you have 2K for RAM. Okay. So if you have 2K with RAM, which is what we have, so it's S, W, and Z. So that's pretty easy. Where's my little jumpers? So we have S. So S is right there. S, and W, which is right here, and then on the other side it's Z. So let's take a little wire and let's solder Z to the center. Let me see what I have here. Usually you can just use a little, you should like keep the little pieces. I didn't, but I have plenty, so we will get one from somewhere else. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Z. There we go. Let's solder it up. I would have put a jumper block on the back, but if I do decide to wear this, I'm going to clean the rest of it off. I Actually, you know what? That's a good idea. I should do that. Hold on here a second. You're seeing version 2 right as we speak. So okay. I'm not sure why all my 28-pin sockets have such long leads. They're not they are not they're not wire wrap sockets. But now you got to make sure you get rid of all the little pieces because they'll create a problem. Alright, now let me take this off. So, and then let's get a little solder wick here. Whoops. Get a little solder wick here and wick those jumpers or the things clean. Come on. Let's put some. Let's see where it is. There it is. Come on. Okay, good enough. Okay, I happen to have some right angle things here. This will come in handy. So I am going to put a right angle. Oh, you are going to be obstinate, aren't you? When I can't get all the stuff out of a unit, then I put a little bit more solder in, so it puts a little bit more flux in there, and then I try it again. Sometimes the second time works like that. Okay, so let's put this in here. There we go, and then let's solder it up. Ta-da! Okay, and then it says, what was it? It said, sorry. Okay, so 2K was Z, I believe. 2K is Z. And Z is on this side, so do that. And then the other one, which is 8K or 16K, or 32K. So this is a 16K EEPROM. It says 27C128, which is a 16K, which means it needs to be V. So there's V. Okay. So I think it's all there. Now, let's turn it off. I've got some brand new Energizer batteries here. Let's put them in and let's watch it hopefully do something. Nope, did nothing. Okay, well. Oh. let's take a look and see. Let's make sure we actually have. I wonder if you're not going to put only install if using rechargeable batteries. So I'm going to look at that right now and see what's going on there. Where is that? That's R4. I see R1, R2, R3. R3C. I don't see R4. R1, R1A, R3D, R1. Here we go. Yeah, R3 just goes around the 5818 to charge NiCad NIMH batteries, so that shouldn't matter. Alright, so let's see. Let me get my handy dandy scope here. I probably could have used my multimeter, but it's packed. Okay, so let us see here. So, oh, you know what? No. Did I do this right? Yeah, I did. Okay. So, here is minus, and here is plus. And it claims there's just a little over 4.5. Let's see. Let's see how many volts it is. 2 volts per. Yep, 4.4 volts. I wonder if that's just not enough. So we've got our chips there. We got this chip. We got that. We got the resonator. Let's see if we've. Oh, I see one of these. Let me take a look back here. Well, it looks clean. Did I forget to solder something? Looks like everything's soldered. Except for that resistor. Z, and what did I say? If it's 2K, it's S, W, and Z. S, W, Z, and then V. Yep. That is very strange. Solder the resistor pack up backwards. Pretty sure I did that on. I checked that on purpose. I mean, checked it to make sure. Let me see here. I wonder if I did solder it up backwards. Which is terrible. I could have swore I had it all set up correctly. Nope, it's right here. Whoops. Yep, I got the black line right there. So I soldered it up right. Diodes are right. are set up correctly. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's look at, always a good idea to do a little troubleshooting, so let's see here. Where's the resonator? $37. So 37 is where the resonator is. So let's take a look at 37. Let's see if we can find a signal. Where's ground? 1, pin 1. So let's pin 1 and 37. 40, 39, 38, 37. Whoa. Yep, it's there. Resonator's resonating. It's kind of it's only 2.5 volts. I suppose that's okay. So what am I missing? Must be something I haven't soldered. Or I put the chips in the wrong way. Nope, they look like they're in the right way. This one's not in all the way. Oh. Nope, it's fine. So just go over little by little here. It's good to me. I sure don't see anything that's not working. Oh! Dang it. I know what happened. So it's off. I got it. I got it. I did not realize this, but this RAM chip is smaller. So, see, it's always something. It's always a goof. So, 2K. I'm in this socket with pin 1 right. Well, I don't know. Let's try this. See if that changes anything. So, looks like I may have had the RAM in wrong because it's not as wide as the... Yep. Okay, so I fixed the problem. So the problem was, just so you're aware, so when you get the chip, let me take this out. If you look here, let me put it under the microscope so everybody can see it. Scope. So the socket for the RAM chip is bigger than the RAM chip, which makes sense. It's a 2K RAM. It's just a stupid mistake on my part. And so even though it says install, let's see, where's the RAM at? Yeah. See, I didn't read the whole thing. It says U4CXK5814 2K RAM. Pin 1 goes on the right end with the 4 holes at the right end empty. So I should have put it over on this end and left these holes empty. So it's always something, right? And if I'd have soldered it in, that would have been a mess, right? Okay, so let's do this. So let's see what it says. Oh, you can't see it with the thing on. Let me shut the thing off. 6502 badge for VCF. I guess that's what it says. 60 badge for VCF. So I guess I'm going to have to now write some code. So there we go. Shows you that people who've soldered up for a long time can still make stupid mistakes. Read the instructions. I tried my best. I still made a mistake. Anyway, it's working. I think I'm going to try really quick here and see if these, just because people will probably want to know if the nickel metal hydride batteries are charged or not. I will go ahead and put them in. It's okay to put them in, and although the one thing you do have to do is take they have plastic on them, so you have to take the plastic off. So let me take the plastic off and put them in here. Let me flip back so you can see. So I'll take that one off and take this one off and take the plastic off of this one. Okay, so we'll see if just because people will want to know. Let's turn it on and make sure I have it right. And it does not appear that the nickel metal hydride batteries come charged. So I would definitely recommend that you buy some AAAs to start with, because if you try it with those batteries, it inevitably will not work, and you will wonder why, and then later on you will figure out that your batteries are dead and need to be charged. But I will keep the batteries and this 33 ohm resistor because I suspect that that I will want to charge them. I assume what you do is you plug the USB thing in, which I'm not going to do tonight. I'm going to end on a positive note. Besides, it's 2:30, so it appears as though what you would do is you would plug the USB serial adapter into your computer, and then you will plug it into this thing right here, and then that will power the unit from 5 volts. And when you turn it on, it'll trickle charge the metal hydride batteries. But I'll let somebody else decide to do that. So I'm going to figure out quickly here how to put that there, which is kind of a waste. But anyway, I'm going to flip back to the webcam here so that you can see this. So I'm going to strap it in here. It's got some heft to it, so there we go. So I will have to figure out something to do with the batteries because, so let me turn it on here. There we go. So, whoops. So there we go. For VCF. I wonder if they could have done MW. Probably not. Well, they might have, but it would have been a pain. Anyway, but yeah, the batteries are kind of a I'll have to tape them to the back. Hold on here a second. Maybe I can tape them in. Let me go find some tape here real quick. Just a second. Okay, let's see if we can. Oh, what happened? Interesting. Let's see. Maybe we can just kind of. It won't be pretty, but it might get the job done until I can come up with something. I got some I've got some power strips or whatever they're called, command strips. I've got some command strips that I think would work, but I have to find them. So let's see if we can just tape it here. So, Lee and Daryl and Josh, thank you very much. This was a really cool project. Whoops. There we go. That's not too bad. So, whoops. Well, it wasn't until it fell off. Come on. Alright. Let's flip this around so it. Okay, let's turn it on. So there we go. Whoops, and it's a VCF shirt to boot, so ta-da, I gotta find a better way to deal with this. It's pretty hefty. I'd say it weighs, I don't know, at least 10 ounces, maybe 14 ounces or so. But it's cool. Very impressive. So, thank you very much for watching if you managed to get here to the end, and I hope to see you at VCF, and if you see this afterwards, I hope we met. Talk to you later.